This Organized Chaos video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Eduardo is from Pop Counterculture Media. He is a much smaller YouTube channel, but we do very similar thing. And I thought it'd be fun to have him on. He was brought up in the last live stream. He was brought up, and I thought it'd be fun to have him on. Hey, there you are. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, my chat my stream should be able to hear you, but they shouldn't be able to see you yet. Let me get you set up. Your window is taking up the whole screen.
My window, my video feed or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay,
how dare you do that? Because that's definitely something you have control of and did on purpose, right?
I guess, bro.
Yeah, man. What's up with that? Let's see. Chat. Let's just move chat ahead, and that should look decent. Okay, that'll work. Hey, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Eduardo. I'm from Pop Counterculture Media. It's a channel that does a lot of what Robert does on Organized Chaos. I do it in a live stream form under These People Hate Cinema. I'm also just kind of taking a break from that for a few weeks while I'm working on a sort of major video essay. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be back to doing that more regularly next week. But yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah, I will say, like, when you're covering stuff like this, you do occasionally need those breaks. The anti-woke stuff will get to after a while. I mean, holy shit.
It's the same, like, 4 videos over and over.
Yes.
Literally, in every single way.
Like, if you've seen a neurotic video, you know the beats. If you've seen a critical drinker, you know, like, maybe the first couple lines will be fine, and then he's just gonna, he's at least gonna dive into cringe a bit, and sometimes just completely fall off a cliff, and it's like, oh my god, what am I watching? What am I...
Yeah, no, and it's so annoying, too. I think I've seen you frustrated with this, too, because, you know, like, you and I, we're not, like, grifters and shit, you know? No. We're not, like, trying to put something over on anybody, so, like, if I'm gonna cover... Let's say I'm going to cover She-Hulk. I'm just going to talk about She-Hulk in that specific episode, you know, after I've seen it. These guys will, like, watch 2 or 3 clips and make a 12-minute fucking video just complaining alone off those 2 or 3 clips. Well,
that's annoying. They will make at least an 8-minute video.
Yeah.
The secret number for YouTube extra ads. For some reason, they always end up at that range. I don't know why. I don't know.
Right, yeah, and honestly, like, a lot of it too is just like sitting there and watching them, like you could see it in their eyes sometimes, like stretch out that content, you know, like that's the weird. That's to me those little moments where like they can see the real them.
Yeah,
you know, it's so interesting for me.
Like, you don't really get that with Critical Drinker. I swear, a couple times with Neurotic, you can tell his heart is not in it.
God, yeah.
He's just like, oh god, I'm saying this again, aren't I? I'm saying I'm you again. Shit. I'm saying I'm
Yeah, no, I think one of my favorite moments that I did on my streams was when I was watching the first like 3-hour review he did of first episode of House of the Dragons. Like, it's just so funny because, you know, he's allowing Mahler to, you know, promote shit. And Mahler is like, I just did a 6-hour video of Doctor Strange 2. And like Gary is just like, he doesn't even know what to say to that. Because, I mean, what do you say, right? Like, he just sits back there like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that video's got like 2 million views. And I'm like, I don't even have the energy to sit through 5.5 hours on Doctor Strange 2. I know you... Yeah. I actually did want to ask you, because I know you did a Mahler thing recently. I haven't had a chance to watch. So I kind of wanted to ask what your thoughts were on that, because that's a deep dive.
Yeah, he doesn't make it easy. No. Yeah, I avoided him for the same reasons you did. It takes up too much time. But he did cover Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, which is I love that movie. I know it's got hella flaws. I know the script is shitty, but I love that movie. Or it's and you know, for the filmmaking aspect of it. So I picked that one because I knew it pretty well, and I tend to defend that one a lot. So I have a lot of stuff to defend it with. And just kind of watching it, man, like, it's just like the driest, most pedantic, nitpicky bullshit like ever. Like it's like watching his videos is like watching cinema sins with all the boring stuff not cut out. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
it's like
that's
it's the least entertaining version of cinema sins. It's the exact same basic
which
idea. Nitpick every little bit. You know.
yeah. And I hate to say it because it sounds positive for CinemaSins, which drives me nuts. But at least CinemaSins, if you pressure them, will say, "Hey, it's just a joke." Whereas these guys
Yeah.
are like ride or die with this stuff, and I'm like, really, really.
Right. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Doc.
No, I just think it's interesting. I want to commend you for having the courage to go after Mahler because
I appreciate it, man.
there's
It
a
took lot out of me.
cinema aspect to that one. It's like, what is this going to be like a 40-hour stream, and I'm going to cover like 2.5 videos, 2.5.
Yeah, no, because you can do that, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think it's cool that you're inviting Rags on. You're essentially calling him out to come on, dude. And I think that would be really cool. But I also
Oh yeah,
I think none of them could do it. I
yeah,
don't think.
that's a thing. Like, I'm sure their
Right.
fans will come on, and I get, I'm probably some haters in the chat. I'm welcome you on. Let's discuss this reasonably. Let's not just troll each other in the chat. Let's discuss this like reasonable
Right.
human beings, adults.
Mhm.
But I don't think Rags and them will, because I think a lot of them know how thin a lot of their arguments are.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing I keep on seeing. These arguments are so goddamn thin. It's like, really?
Yeah, they're so easy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
they're so easy to pick apart.
yeah. And I know you said you brought in a couple of these fans on your channel to discuss stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I've had on my Dave Colin video, I had a guy who came in pretty hot, like
Mhm.
ready to talk shit. But no, we actually had a pretty decent conversation, and
Yeah.
how much I reached him, I don't know, but at least I
Mhm.
was able to effectively communicate with him why I think these channels are they're just bad. They're bad content, and they're bad for society, and they're bad for their fans.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, obviously the conversation from Austin, the first conversation I had, didn't go particularly great. Not for him, but yeah.
Not for him. You were great.
Yeah, no. And then, like, the second one, I actually found the guy, like, I feel like he was coming at it from an honest perspective. And he left
Yeah.
it saying it was a good conversation, made me look at things from a new perspective. And stuff like that I really like.
Well,
Reaching out to these guys. Yeah.
no, I feel that. Well, I mean, I think when I put myself in the headspace of the kind of person who enjoys these videos, I
Mm-hmm.
do kind of get this insular vibe. I mean, one of the things that these channels all do that's a really smart manipulation tactic, is they tell their fans like, we are the honest critics.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is bullshitting you. Everybody else is a shill. Don't trust what they have to say. Listen to us, and a lot of their fans, I mean, to me, like, the people who watch this shit, like, and actually get something out of it, there's two things that I think you and I can safely assume about all these people's fans. A, they have a victimization complex, right? And these videos give them that narrative, like,
Yeah.
you're a victim of the woke agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them an enemy, and it tells them right there, everything you're feeling about the world, whatever going after you, they're valid. It's called the woke agenda. Here's a million fucking videos about it. And another thing that we could assume is just like the insane amount of entitlement that these fans have, like,
Mm-hmm.
they think that because, they pay to go see these movies and buy the merch, that, like, it is literally theirs,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work like that.
No,
Like,
it doesn't.
yeah, like, it belongs to the people who make it. You're just paying to support and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like music or anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, if you're not someone who thinks of themselves as entitled, these videos ain't gonna do shit for you. If you if you have that victimization complex, if you don't have that victimization complex, these nerdrotic videos, critical drinker videos, they're not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
If you're not entitled, these videos are not going to be entertaining for you. So I think, like, once you get those people out of that echo chamber, like, they're easier to talk to, and I think a lot of them are surprised the lack of hostility
Yeah.
that goes in their direction.
Yeah, like, when I invite people on, I genuinely just want to have discussion. If it becomes a debate, so be it. But I want to
Right.
talk. I want to see what's in your head to make you think, oh my god, these guys are, because they treat it almost like a religion. I swear, in the comments at least,
Yeah.
it's like treated like a religion. I don't know how much of the toxicity you've gotten in your comments, but
No, it's there, dude. Especially when I went very hard on Gary over at Nerdrotic. Yeah, I got ratioed on that one pretty heavy.
Oh, I
But
get
like
ratioed on anything. So
that's the nature though. Like I think we both understood going into this that was going to happen.
yeah.
But I think we also kind of have the same goal is that like I don't, I want to talk to them too. I want to talk to these fans because like I don't like they're right that they're being victimized by someone, but it's these assholes. It's not like media or society. I think once they're able to like communicate with them sincerely and like in a more effective way, like you might not get them overnight, but at least they'll start to see shit differently. And I think that's important to do,
Mm-hmm. Brightburn was wondering, I have a question for both of you guys. Do you both think Howard Stern is relevant in today's world? Howard Stern, out of nowhere. I honestly don't have an issue with Howard Stern for the most part. I don't agree with everything he says, but as far as like media figures, I mean, I agree with him a lot more than Joe Rogan anymore. But yeah,
yeah. I like Howard Stern because it goes to show that you can be a sleazebag and not be an asshole.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a sleazebag and shit, but he's not an asshole, and he's actually been far more progressive than you would expect from that kind of shit. I don't really think he's as relevant as he used to be, but like,
well, obviously,
that made an impact though.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who like does, or not necessarily, not everybody, but a lot of people who do their own live streams and stuff like that. Yeah, you can tell that Howard Stern's style is a big part of it for sure.
I mean, I know Joe Rogan's a much bigger name right now, but I mean, I don't see Joe Rogan existing without Howard Stern before him. It's just I don't see it being a thing. I don't.
Were you a Rogan fan back in the day?
Me, not hardcore, like mildly. Like I never like it's for a while there. I was fine with him. Like if he had a guest on I liked, I would watch it. Yeah. And then I found it was actually a long time where I wasn't watching it because he wasn't having anybody on I was interested in. And then I realized, oh God, it's because it's all these guys. It's only these guys.
Yeah, he took a turn, man. He took a turn for sure.
So were you a Rogan fan?
I was for a very long time. Not the most religious one. I did listen to every episode, but a lot more than I'd like to admit, to be honest.
Yeah.
He was fun, dude. Like back in the day, back when he wasn't trying to like outsmart scientists and shit. Like he was a fun person to listen to, but now he's just another rich comedian complaining about cancel culture.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I will say he has a talent for conversation. I will say that.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Let's see. I saw a couple things. Let's see. Chat. Howard Stern. I thought there was more on here. Okay. Oh, who's the worst person we've covered? Robert Hamilton wanted to know.
Oh God. For me, it's a toss-up between the Quartering and that Star Wars girl.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are the absolute worst because
they're
the
boring. They're
yeah, definitely.
I mean, they all are, but geez, those two fuck.
No, I feel you because I mean, Jeremy, he's just dull. He has no personality, and he reads very slow. And with Anna from that Star Wars girl, like she's just a bad actress. She just don't know how to act, and like the grifting, you could see the fumes of the grifting sauce just like radiating off when she goes on camera, dude. Like those two are the worst. Quartering because of his content, and Anna just because she's so bad at her job. She's just bad at it. I don't want to sound, I hate to pull this card, but if she was a mediocre looking guy, she would have no career.
No, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Let's see. Who the worst people I've covered? Like that Reaper video was really bad, but he is smaller. As far as bigger people, Matt Walsh has got to be high up there. Oh, fuck. He's a piece of shit. Yeah.
There goes definitely a Howard Stern fan that missed the point there.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Alex was guessing. I'd say Matt Walsh. Yeah, yeah. Matt Walsh. He's bad. Um,
He's
uh, you should make a video review of Spider-Man. No way. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not against doing another comparison. It's just a time issue. Um, let's see. Okay, so somebody brought up in the chat, how long do you think until Bill Maher leaves the left?
leaves the web.
leaves the left. I think it's a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, is he even there? Like
he hasn't been there for a long time. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
He's like an old school comedian, bro. Like all those old school like mid '90s and earlier comedians, they like to stay right in the middle as much as possible. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's that outdated fucking '90s slacker ass. Both sides are bad kind of bullshit, and it doesn't surprise me. You know, when he scores some for the left though, those are pretty big scores, big wins in my opinion.
Yeah,
but, you know,
they're getting few and far between though.
And they're making less impact because, I mean, who the fuck cares what Bill Maher has to say, right?
Robert Hamilton, have you seen the video where Matt Walsh said the Black Mermaid is unrealistic? I covered Matt Walsh in his video on Little Mermaid. I don't recall him saying it's unrealistic. I do recall him really playing with white genocide in that video, which is a piece of shit theory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Daily Wire, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I mean, for me, dude, like, when it comes to like these people hate cinema and stuff like that, it just feels like a lower stakes version of like Matt Walsh and Daily Wire and Candace Owens. Like, it's that same basic idea, the same narrative being told. It's just they're using stuff that I love, you know, like movies and TV. That's what got me into it, dude. It's like, okay, look, like, have your bullshit little OAN Candace Owens crap. It's like when I started to like, and your video really drew attention to it, that like these guys are just using movies and films to sort of push their right wing, like let's face it, fascist ideology. That's when I wanted to throw my hat into the culture war, you know?
Yeah, because I mean they're speaking to honestly the youth with these videos, and it's not telling them, like, at the very least, the best thing you can say is it's teaching them really bad ways to watch media.
Yeah.
But the worst is like pushing them towards fascism. You are correct.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, honestly, like on the whole, like these, I don't hate this. I don't want to sound like Miss Lovejoy or nothing here, but like these videos are bad for their fans. Their fans, if they want to grow and be better people, the first thing they got to do is stop watching shit like Neurotic and The Quartering, you know, and yeah, dude, because it's all unhealthy, and also like it just cracks me up because, like, you know, their arguments are so bad. The Little Mermaid one cracks me up the most though, right? Because what a lot of these guys are saying is that now that we have a black mermaid, well, how are the ginger kids going to be represented?
I know, like, it's such a weird argument.
They're just redheaded white people, dude.
Yeah, like, I never thought gingers are a whole other race. What are we talking about? What are we?
Yeah, and listen, and the thing is with these guys, they're such grifters that, like, if there was like if some crazy right-wing lady made a video like ranting on her phone about how they're taking my mermaid away from me, you know, or if she was left-wing, they would highlight her as a cringe fucking person because that idea is cringe, you know, but that's the entire crux of that argument for them.
Well, I mean, it's like I've dealt with this a couple times already. People keep on saying, oh, they shouldn't change it from the original. It's like, okay, so the Disney, number one, the Disney movie isn't the original. Number two, like, all you people also seem to like Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. So make up your minds. I mean, come on.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it's funny too, right? Because what I find when talking to a lot of the fans of this content, right, is that when you sit down and you talk to them, they're like, well, it's not about race. It's about calling out bad representation. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, it's good to talk about that. No doubt about it. The thing is, you're not going to tell if the representation is good or bad based on the trailer, based on the interviews. You got to wait and watch the movie.
Exactly.
The thing is, and Gary at Nerdrotic knows it, and Will over at Critical Drinker knows it. All these guys, they know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they know you can't make content if you wait till the actual thing comes out. So, they got to keep that well pumping with all that fucking marketing material. And
Yeah.
it's so weird because when you think about it, like these guys' whole career, right? Their whole channels, their whole little like groups they build for themselves is about criticizing the marketing material.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's so much of what they do. Like, they get triggered by so many just fluff pieces. Like, they cover Rings of Power in a fucking magazine. Oh my god, why have they done this? Because it's a fucking magazine, and they do that in magazines. Because they...
Yeah, exactly. And like, look, you're not, usually those kind of sites that report that are like movie blogs or comic book blogs. They're not going to do heavy journalism,
Yeah.
It's so weird because like, they'll complain like, oh, well, this person said this in an interview, and it's like, you got to understand, like on a general basis, this is all just marketing. These are just people who are, because of their jobs, depending on having more seasons and more sequels to do this, saying whatever they can, to make that shit look good, to build hype. And it's just so weird because like I feel like once you take away all the set dressing and you sort of whittle it down to what it really is, which is grown ass men complaining about children's media, not the movies, the marketing of it. And I think once you break it down to those bare fucking essential elements of what it really is, like I think it's hard for any reasonable person to defend that as a practice,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just fluff pieces, and everybody's getting upset over fluff pieces, and I'm like, I don't care. If you're really excited for this thing coming out, read it. I'm not. I don't care that much. I don't care.
Yeah, in all my years of being a movie fanatic, and I do mean fanatic, I have almost never ever read like a a marketing video or a marketing article. I don't care about that shit. And I'm a movie capital N nerd, dude.
Yeah.
Like I love film, I love cinema, and I listen to podcasts and shit analyzing it, but as far as the marketing of this shit, it doesn't interest me.
Yeah, no. Like, when it comes to that type of stuff, usually if I watch the movie and then I love it, then I'll go back and I'll go into all that stuff and be like, oh, that's interesting. But, like, going into it, like, blind, I usually just go into it blind.
Yeah.
I used to be a bit more into comic book stuff, but, like, I've gotten even kind of burnt out a little bit on that. So, like, I'll just go in as it is. Go in as it is.
Yeah, do you feel, because you're a comic book fan. I'm not too much into the superhero stuff. Like, do you feel like these people have affected like the discourse for it? Like, for me, like it's like a lot less fun to just like casually bring up Star Wars because of assholes like this.
Yeah, Star Wars, and like for a long time it was mainly just Star Wars, and Marvel was pretty safe. But now Marvel's gone hit hard, and it's like you can't bring up anything. It's like She-Hulk this, She-Hulk twerking destroyed the whole character forever.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, dude, that's so weird to me. Like who doesn't like to see women twerk? Like it's cool. It's
yeah,
cool.
She-Hulk. She-Hulk was not a flawless series, but her twerking was just a joke in a mid-credit scene. Get over it, guys. Oh my god.
You have to understand the fans of these channels. They don't have a sense of humor aside of like trying to out racist each other with their friends.
Like
the Call of Duty fucking lobby and shit.
Oh yes, they do. Yeah, I do feel like, and they're getting worse too. And then Mike actually brought up. I talked to Mike last stream, but he brought up this guy called Reaper, and he's a smaller YouTuber, so it's not something I really want to dive into a whole lot. But his like She-Hulk review was like super fucking sexist, like. So much worse than anything I've seen the big guys do. And it's like, wow, this is what happens when you have the big guys being this bad, this obviously sexist. Now the smaller guys just want to catch up, so they got to do twice as hard. Yeah, and it's like, oh wow, this is a terrible setup, and yeah, it's just frustrating. Mr. Philman's second channel. Hey, I have a question for both of you. What are your thoughts on the 13 Halloween movies? Are there 13 Halloween movies now? There might be that many.
It probably is, yeah. Yeah, you want to go ahead and go first? I don't really have too much to add, to be honest.
So there are brilliant Halloween movies and nowhere well, there's one brilliant Halloween movies and there's a few good ones, a fair number of good ones, and then there's a couple that are fine and then a couple that are garbage. I don't have
Hmm.
I don't have strong feelings except for the first one. I absolutely love the first one. The first one set the slasher genre, and when you watch it, you see why. It was brilliant. Um
Right.
I think the recent rebooted ones are largely fine, that with 2018 being by far the best one. Um, Outside of that, not super strong feelings. I think the worst ones are probably Halloween 5, Resurrection, and then Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah, I just don't like Rob Zombie, so I didn't even bother with those.
Yeah, Rob Zombie. Well, I will say this: Monsters wasn't as bad as I feared, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, dude. God, I have this joke that I like to tell people, which is like, hey, here's Rob Zombie's version of Harry Potter. Ah, fucking shit, Harry, you
Yeah.
fucking piece of shit. You're a fucking goddamn son of a bitch wizard, you asshole.
Yeah, oh
Like,
god. Yeah, I could just see him with Harry Potter's uncle and aunt. Oh god.
yeah, so, yeah, that's to me. That's why I can't stand this shit. It's just like his wife cussing a million miles a minute, and
Mhm.
and it's like that's not for me. I feel weird when it comes to like because I have a podcast that I do with my friend Dominic St. Clair over on his channel, Dominic St. Clair Studios. And he's a huge horror fan, like a big horror fan. And I love horror too, but like what I think is funny is that a lot of people like I love horror movies, but I'm kind of like on slashers in general. It's not really for me. Like I like shit that's really intense, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't really watch a lot of the slasher shit. The slasher that I do like is Jason over there
Yeah.
because like his stuff is just like mask off slasher films, dude. It's
Oh
ass, tits,
yeah.
and blood. That's it. That's all I sign up for when I watch a slasher movie. If you give me that, I'm happy.
Oh yeah, no, Jason is definitely he's like the strip like of the big 3, he's like the stripped down. This is just a slasher. No deep thought. If
Yes,
you're going into this with deep thought, I don't know what you're doing.
he's a
Um
Howard Stern fan of
yeah.
all three of us.
Yes, yes. um Wow, again, what are your thoughts on on Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Um I have a confession. I've never seen the original.
I hate to say it too, but I haven't seen the original either.
I saw the only Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie I've ever seen is the one that came out on Netflix earlier this year, and I thought it was dog shit.
Okay. I think I saw the Michael Bay one back in the Platinum Dunes remake that he put out like in the mid 2000s, but I don't remember too much of it, so it probably wasn't all that great.
Yeah, it's probably not the best sign. Of course, I don't know if you're not coming away hating it. Maybe it was just dumb fun for the moment.
Yeah.
uh, so I guess what drove you into movies? What inspired this interest in movies?
Yeah, I mean, I could literally point it down to like a single moment, bro. Like I was 4 years old. I was in a theater and Jurassic Park just ended, you know, and I learned how to read before I got into kindergarten. So the first thing that pops up is Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg, and I was watching it with my dad and my mom, and I said, what's a director? And my dad said, oh, and he just casually said it, oh, he's just the guy that makes the movies, and ever since I understood there is a guy who makes the movies, like, yeah, I got into filmmaking. I got into film really heavily after that. Like, a lot of kids, they were into comic books or they were into sports and all that. I was like the weird kid who just loved learning about movies all the time. So
Mm,
that was pretty much it for me. Yeah.
nice, yeah, yeah. There's usually a movie that inspired. I'm trying to think. If there's a movie that really inspired me. I just remember taking a broadcasting class for fun, and then kind of realizing like camera work and working with Final Cut Pro. I was like, I love this. I love this.
Yeah. No, dude, there's something to being a part. I've made a couple of short films and all that, and they're just on YouTube. They didn't do much in the viewership and all that shit, but like being able to just be part of the art form and create cinema or movies or whatever, it's its own reward in my opinion.
Hmm.
At least that's what I tell myself when I see the views on movies get.
Yeah. Um. So, thoughts on how GameStop treats its employees. So, I will say I haven't really looked into it, Brightburn. I do know GameStop's been awful to its employees. The biggest story I remember was when COVID started and they were not deemed an essential business and they were telling their employees they have to come to work. We're essential. They have to come to work. A complete piece of shit move on their part. Yeah, and while I appreciate the whole like stonks thing when that happened, and I liked shoving it to the man. It did. Yeah, it did boost GameStop's stock, and that helped them stick around through the pandemic, unfortunately, as well. So it was a mixed bag there.
Yeah, no, all the stories I've heard from working at GameStop, man, it makes it sound like so much extra worse than all the other retails and stuff like that. Because like in GameStop, like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of kids who want to work at GameStop, and GameStop knows that. So like when they hire people, they'll start you off at like 2 hours a week. And then once you've proven yourself working at GameStop, they'll give you more hours slowly and shit. And yeah, dude, like, okay, like whatever. Like if you're just trying to have a workforce full of 15-year-olds, that could work. But it's not great if you're an adult trying to work in that environment, I'm sure. And it's not, it's in my opinion, probably impossible to make a decent living doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's so many fucking managers when you go to one of those places,
Mm-hmm. Mike actually wanted to ask you specifically, did you see Lamb?
That's Mikael, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Mikael, bro? Nice to see you here. Yeah, he's always on the chats. He's a cool dude. I haven't seen Lamb yet. I had a pretty busy weekend. I had some friends from the city come to visit, so I was kind of out of commission all weekend. But yeah, no, I'm getting around to it. I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I know for me, I was literally just doing random reaction videos just for easy content. I'll be blunt. It was easy content. And I was like, I have this set up. I can do a reaction video while I work on bigger projects. And I was just like, oh, these reviewers are cringe. I will just look at, a couple of theirs and, make fun of them a bit. And then I just saw the reaction of hate against me and I went, oh, this is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah, it's like, what? What? You think it's okay that they're freaking out over why? I was just so completely shocked by the whole thing.
Yeah, no, it is weird because, like, for me, like, I am personally, I think I'm always going to be fascinated by what The Last Jedi did to people.
I know.
Like what it did to a lot of people. Like say what you will about the quality of the movie. I think it's a pretty good movie. It's not the greatest.
Me too.
It's the worst Rian Johnson movie. Which I mean, if his worst movie is still a 7 out of 10 in my opinion, that says a lot.
I didn't think about it. Might actually be because like what he's got Brick. I don't know. I think I like Last Jedi more than Looper, but that might be about it.
Well, yeah, he's got Brick Brothers, Bloom, Looper. He did a bunch of Breaking Bad episodes, and then he did The Last Jedi and Knives Out and stuff.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Rian Johnson before The Last Jedi and all that. But so I really liked I liked watching sort of Rome fall a little bit. So I was for a while there watching people's negative reviews of it. Back when it was rational, back before it became this weaponized thing, back when it was just about the movie. But then, the algorithm and shit took over. And I remember one day I woke up and I woke up in the middle of the night and there was the Mahler video playing on my TV while I was asleep. And I was like, well, who the fuck is this boring ass fucking British dude or whatever, So then I go and I press pause and I see that it's this part 2 of 3 4-hour video. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, who's doing this? And that's how I discovered the entire toxic fandom, whatever you want, the fandom menace or whatever they call themselves. Just some cringe shit like that.
Yeah.
But that's how I discovered it. And for the longest time, I just ignored it and all that. But honestly, man, like it was watching your video where you were talking about how these people are taking over film YouTube and all that. Like, to me, like that really like like put a spotlight on them and shit. Because like, yeah, dude, like these guys are, like I said, they're bad for their fans, they're bad for society, and they're bad for discourse,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And as someone like me who likes, conversing and debating, and also has a passionate love for film, like I thought, it's worth it to at least throw my 2 cents in there. But yeah, man, like, but honestly, like ever since I started doing it, like it's just it's hard to keep it up sometimes, bro.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
you can't do it all the time. You can't be watching these videos all the time. It's not good for, even when you know they're full of shit. It's just not good for you.
Right.
It's too much. I would say that essentially that I felt like there's a trilogy of movies that essentially brought us to this point,
Okay.
and it's Ghostbusters 2016,
Yes.
Last Jedi, Captain
Huh?
Marvel.
Oh
I'm
God.
sure there's probably other ones, but yeah, I feel like that was the trilogy, and that brought us to the current ecosystem. These are movies that they cannot shut up about. Just,
Right.
and I remember seeing the wave of Brie Larson videos. I actually stopped watching a lot of YouTubers over the wave of Brie Larson videos because I was just like, oh my god, I don't care. She said some
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
I don't 100% agree with her, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not that big a
I think
deal.
she's. Yeah, I think she's good too, but like she's just an actress in a movie that
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna watch. So like, why do I care what she has to say? You know?
Hmm. Well, that's the thing. Lots of them like talk about how she's a bad actress, and I remember seeing her in Room, and dude, she won the Academy Award for Room, and she earned that Academy Award, and she's done some great performances. So saying she's a bad actress, it's just you haven't seen her in the right stuff. Yeah, Captain Marvel is not
Yeah.
her best performance ever, not by a long shot, but she has some good ones.
And if you want to see Brie Larson do really good in like a sort of action type of movie, watch Kong Skull Island. That movie kicks ass and she's awesome in
Yeah,
it.
that
You
was an
know?
underrated one. I remember enjoying that one quite a bit. The whole
Mhm.
Captain Ahab thing was something I wasn't expecting, but I kind of dug it in that movie.
Yeah,
Kind of an
great
underrated
action.
movie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
With a whole bunch of MCU people randomly thrown in.
right. Tom Hiddleston too. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Samuel L.
Nick Fury,
Jackson,
yeah.
Corman Day.
Yeah, dude. No, that's cool though. I love that movie, bro. Like I
Mhm.
think it's super underrated.
Robert Hamilton saying that he calls him Moviegate. Well, I do find there's a huge crossover between these toxic fans and Comicsgate, which is something I kind of stepped into last year when I did the Cincinnati Comic Expo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I, I think it all goes back to Gamergate, all of it.
Yeah, I'm
This
sure it
this
does.
whole thing
Yeah.
goes all the way back to Gamergate, and I think it's weird because like for me, sometimes when I think about how we got here to where these channels are, like there's so many just like little innocuous fun things that were along the way, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
all, all these guys are ripping off of the Red Letter Media,
Yeah.
you know. But the difference is that Red Letter Media, they love movies, they love the
Yeah.
movies they cover, and they love filmmaking. So
Yeah.
when they talk about shit, they talk about it like on a deep level, on a deep filmmaking level. And I think that's one aspect. I think the other kind of thing that sort of served as like the origins for all this shit is like Nostalgia Critic
Yeah.
and all those guys with the glasses channels. Yeah, I think they're definitely like part of the DNA, you know?
Yeah, yeah, they're built in, but yeah, it was a different environment. Heck, I actually started making videos to apply for that guy with the glasses.
Oh, dude,
I didn't
if I
get
had a
in, but of course
technology-
that dodged a bullet, but I didn't know that at the time.
yeah. Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, like they give off a lot of those early YouTube, like, ranty, like, 10-minute dude just gets on the mic and rambles like angrily for 10-minute kind of vibe, you know? Um, and I think that's fun to watch every now and then, like, uh, yeah, just to like watch like here or there. But I think like it seems weird to me that like society has moved past the need for that as a whole.
Hmm.
Um, but these guys found their own little niche where they can kind of keep that going, and just like in a way that has no charm. Like, say what you will about that guy with the glasses, like
Yeah,
all these geeks just being geeky as fuck on camera. Like, there's a charm to that. There's
yeah,
something that I can buy into and enjoy as a person, seeing somebody who is very passionate about something, whatever, like do their little skits and shit. Like, yeah, it's
hmm,
all cringe now, but there's a real person that you can feel on the other side of that. Whereas these guys, like, it's just I don't even know how to do like when I picture like to me, these guys are like the king of the nerds. You know, like
Yeah.
in high school, you had the nerd group, and then you had that one guy who was like the leader of the nerds, who was like the
Mm-hmm.
least likable person of all of them because like everybody around his like group worships him, but outside of that, he's a total loser. Like that's who these guys are. Like they're really confident in themselves because they created a comfortable echo
Yeah.
chamber for themselves.
Yeah,
Outside of that, shit.
they've created a comfortable group of fans for themselves, but like they don't do
Mhm.
well outside of that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And maybe if they want to come on and talk to me, maybe they can prove me wrong.
But why won't they do that, Robert?
I wonder. Let's see. You know, they haven't had a chance to reply yet, so maybe they'll be in the comments here. Maybe
Hey, honestly, like if any fans of Nerdrotic or Rags or any of those, if you guys are in the chats or watch this video, hit Robert up or yeah, hit Robert up, hit me up at Pop Counterculture.
yeah.
Listen, because I think you and me are on the same place here. Like I think we want to talk to these guys.
Oh yeah. If I
Because
have a chance to actually get through to somebody, actually that'd be super. That's always super rewarding, even if it's like just for a
yeah.
moment. It's it's a light at
Oh
the end of
yeah.
the tunnel for me. And I'm like,
No, dude, it's honestly like with talking to the fans. Once you get over the initial like you're a grifter, you're jealous. After you get
mm-hmm.
past that, we get to talk to them. Yeah, it can be kind of cool and can be rewarding. I think they underestimate themselves in some way. As to
Yeah, I
like,
wonder that too, because a lot of the stuff
yeah,
they say feels a lot like honestly a self-report. It's like, really?
right. I mean, I think the best, and they all self-report, right? Because how
Mhm.
many times do they go on about like Disney said, "Oh, like racist fans aren't welcome here," and then they take it as they're not letting any fans. They're
I
telling all the.
know.
It's like no, they just. Me as someone who is not a racist, I don't see that.
Yeah.
I feel like they're telling me to fuck off
Well,
because
yeah,
I can see they're talking about the racist, and I exclude myself from that. You
yeah.
know.
They were literally so triggered by there's a million species in the galaxy. Don't be a racist, and they were so triggered. I'm like,
Yes.
I don't. That's like a milquetoast corporate tweet. Why are you triggered? It's the most milquetoast thing ever. Just saying, hey, don't be racist. Seems like an easy
Right.
request. It seems like.
Unless you're a certain kind of person that kind of takes that personally.
Yeah, exactly. Then it might change.
Yeah, but I mean, whether these guys are or are not racist, like I think it's irrelevant if they are personally racist because at the end of the day, there are
Mhm.
paying into that. Yeah, they're paying lip service to racist fucking ideologies and racist discourse. I think one thing, and I mean, all conservatives do this. Let's be real, but I think it's like super disgusting. This whole practice in general, like you'll have like that Moises actress from
Yeah, Moses Ingram.
Moses Ingram, right? Like she actually posted several screenshots of all the harassment and shit, And
Yeah.
a lot of these assholes, they're like, "Oh, you got like what? 20 messages out of millions of people out there, and like
Mhm.
what? Like half of those are fake." It's like, okay, let's just take that premise to be true. All right,
Yeah. Hmm.
let's take that premise to be true. Let's say that of those 20 things that she shared, let's just say that was all of it. It was just
Yeah.
20, and that's all there ever was, and half of those are fake. There's 10 people. There's 10 people harassing a person for their race, for their gender, all that shit, right?
Hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
not enough?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like I don't have a problem calling out just those 10 people if that's all they're doing, because
yeah,
that's not acceptable behavior remotely.
yeah, because ultimately the sort of implication behind that, right, is that if you're black or if you're a woman or if you're gay or whatever, you should be willing and ready to take a bunch of harassment. At least 10 people worth of harassment.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't think anybody should be harassed for their race,
Absolutely.
their sexuality, their gender, and at all. At all. If one person does it, that's too much.
Yeah. Exactly.
They have every right to draw attention to it,
Yeah, no, it's an unacceptable behavior, and it's like I was talking with Austin. He was like, "It was only 1% of the people who sent those messages." I was like, "Do you realize how many messages that is? If it's only 1%, I mean, holy shit, holy shit! I mean, I can guarantee you, it's more than what she showed. You can just
Definitely.
talking to some of these guys, it's like, ouch. Let's see. I see there's a couple chats here I think I missed. Supposedly, Star Trek's divided in two factions: people who enjoy J.J. Abrams' Star Trek and people who don't.
I like the first. I like the
Yeah.
first the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. The Into Darkness was a fucking mess, but the
I
first
really
one was
liked
fun.
Star Trek Beyond as well. Into Darkness was kind
Yeah.
of iffy.
Oh God, yeah, that was I remember watching that one in the theater. And, like, it starts off pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where, like, by hour two, you're looking at your buddy like, what the fuck did we get into, bro?
No, it was one of those things where they made such a big deal about how it's not Khan, and I was just like, oh, I bet you it's some like there's so many like original series characters they could draw upon and really expand upon, and I thought it'd be cool. Let's do one of those. What a cool idea. Let's not do Khan, and then it's just fucking Khan, and I'm like,
Right.
you know, we already have a great Khan movie. Just gonna point it out.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Like, I don't really blame anybody for like being angry at J.J. Abrams for that or whatever. That's fine. But, like, to base your entire personality around
Yeah.
hating everything J.J. Abrams did because he made one like kind of middling movie once, it's a little ridiculous to me.
Star Trek is not a movie franchise with a spotless track history, even before Abrams. Into Darkness isn't even the worst one. So let's. It's.
Yeah.
It exists.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not the kind of movie that's worth getting all that worked up over,
No, it's not.
They think order and chaos are somehow opposites and try to control what won't.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.